Good evening, everyone. This is Soft Skills Masterclass for students. My name is Abiola Sunday Awokiyesi. I'm a soft skill instructor at Mindklass. I would like you to prepare your mind because from next week, we'll be having a number of persons, experts that will be speaking to us on various aspects of soft skills. As an introduction to the topic that we'll be looking at today, we'll be looking at the story of a young boy named Bernard. Bernard happened to be the captain of his school football club, and he happened to be a very good football player. At the close of the year, the national football team came to Bernard's school to select a number of footballers in the school football club to join the national team. On the day they were coming for the selection process, Bernard had practiced the previous day, so he woke up very late on that very day. So he didn't clean up. So he just rushed out, picked a number of clothes up, and ran to school without even saying hello or good morning to his parents. So when he got to the interview, the committee members made their choice and left Bernard behind. And he exclaimed, saying, "Why would I be left behind when I'm the best on this team?" Surprisingly, one of the committee members replied, "Whoever does not respect the importance of this team, dressed in the best possible manner, to smell in the best possible odor, but disciplined with time, and be faithful in little things, and not to join our team." And that was why Bernard was left behind. He was left behind because he was not disciplined in little things. He was not disciplined in the way he looked. He was not disciplined in the way he appeared. He was not disciplined in people's perception of his look, of his appearance, of his soft skills. Yes, Bernard was a good football player, but he is not very good in the way he manages his soft skills. So as a result of this, Bernard was left behind. And that's why we are still looking at the topic, etiquette of manners and conduct. This is the 4th series. At the end of this study, we trust that students will understand what is etiquette, the kinds of etiquette, we understand the application of the rules of etiquette, we understand the ways to improve the rules of right behavior. And the quote for today is, "First impression will influence future impression." As a student, you need to understand that the impression that you have upon people that at your first encounter will always influence the way they think of you, what they think of you, and their decision about you in the future. And that's why you need to understand that you have to create a good impression. You have to create a good appearance. You have to appear in the best possible manner. You have to ensure that the manner at which you do things is in the best possible manner, to ensure that you have a long-lasting, better influence, and an influence that will always promote a good relationship with people. So we have looked at the definition of etiquette, which is a set of rules of good manner and polite behavior. And we said that this set of rules has to do with every aspect of our life. In the case of Bernard, it could be possible that Bernard has been someone who has not been mindful about the way he looks. He has not been mindful about being a clean person. He has not been mindful about how he appears. So as a result of that, he took that behavior in other aspects of his life. And according to the football committee members that were sent to the Bernard school, They are mindful about the way people do things, much more importantly than what people do. So just like we have said that the way you do things is much more important than what you do. One of the things that makes the lovers of football to celebrate the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Messi today, is much more importantly because of the way they do things, not just because they play football. So the way they do things, the way you do things, the way we do things, we always tell if we have the rules of etiquette embedded in our hearts or not. So you need to understand as students that you are guided by the rules of good manner and to ensure that you act in the best, a polite way and manner. So the number 18 types of etiquette that we are looking at this evening is cleanliness. Cleanliness. This is an habit that is very crucial for young students to keep up with. This is the habit of keeping oneself free from dirt or impurity. At infancy, when we are very young, our parents are absolutely responsible for ensuring that we are clean, that we stay off impurities. But as we grow old, from infancy as a dependent person into teens, we are made to understand that we need to clean our body, to stay clean, to keep clean habits. Because this shows that we have attained a level of maturity. It shows that we are becoming a responsible person. It shows that we are someone who is fun to be around. It also shows that we are maintaining a healthy living habit. Because when these are not evident in our life, there's a tendency that we'll live in ill health, which is not good for our living. So how does this apply? How can you apply a cleaning habit in your life? Number one is by washing your hands before and after eating. So as a young person, you need to ensure that, especially in these days of coronavirus pandemic, you need to ensure that you wash your hands often. Number two is you wash your hands after using the bathroom. This is very crucial to ensure that if possibly germs have entered your fingernails or you have dirt in your hands, you wash them away before you leave the bathroom. Always wash the bathroom before use and most importantly, after use. This is also to ensure that you stay clean from infections. Keep hands out of nose. There are some students who are often, in a habit of picking their nose in the public, picking their ears in the public, and picking their mouths in the public, which is an habit of lack of cleanliness. Number five is have a bath as often as needed, most especially in the morning and in the night. This is crucial to ensure that you maintain a healthy living habit. Always throw away waste material in the waste bin, not littering the floor, either at home, in your compound, or on the streets when you're on your way to school. This is very important to ensure that the society, the school, and your compound is placed in the best possible manner. Number seven is to trim nails weekly. So keep oneself off long nails because keeping long fingernails harbors dirt, which can be very, very harmful for one's healthy living. Number eight is to brush one's teeth as often as possible. It is often advisable to brush in the morning and in the night. This is important. Do not use undies for more than 24 hours. Especially boys are often in the habit of using undies for several days. Unknown to them that this habit places them at risk of a number of infections. So you should ensure that you do not wear undies for several days. Number two is our attitude to the use of perfumes. As a young student, you need to understand that perfumes is important and not to be used in a wrong manner. The use of perfume is a distinctive odor. Perfume is a distinctive odor that is pleasant to the smell. It is to be used politely. Politely, and this means that it is to be used after bath and not to cover up for not bathing. It is never to be used for cover-ups. So when you use it as cover-up, it is still a dirty habit. So it is not to be used as cover-up. There's an error there. Sorry for the error. Number three is it should be done moderately. This is partly because some people are allergic to perfumes. So moderately in the sense that you do not overuse it. It is such that it makes others feel uncomfortable being around you. And also when you use perfume, you should understand that you do not stay close to an environment where there is a fire, because it contains alcohol that can make it flammable. So this you need to take a note of. Number 20 is fresh breath. As a young student, you need to ensure that you keep fresh breath. Keeping fresh breath helps you to become someone who is fun to be around. This is the habit of maintaining pleasant breath odor. Having a fresh breath make one fun to be around. Bad breath is also called halitosis. This may require one to brush teeth in the morning and in the evening. It may require that you rinse your mouth with mouthwash. For example, if you found that you struggle in maintaining a good breath, you need to get a mouthwash to rinse your mouth as often as possible. It is against the rule of etiquette to use words like "your breath stinks" to a friend, an adult, or a colleague who is found to have an unpleasant breath. So you need to ensure that you do not talk to an elderly person about his or her breath, especially when it is bad. So it is more polite for someone who is a friend of the elderly person to address such friend in the best possible manner, because it could be considered disrespectful. So it is also important that you do not talk about your friend's bad breath behind. So it is better you walk up to a friend and talk to him by putting yourself in your friend's shoe, by not talking in a harsh manner to that friend. So your friend may feel embarrassed at first, but in the long run, he or she would be grateful for speaking to him or her. So keeping fresh breath is very important. Number 21 is chewing of gum. A number of students are in a habit of chewing gum, while some experts, psychologists, and parents frown at chewing gum. So you need to understand that expert advice, in some circumstances, young teens not to chew gum. But the worst thing about chewing gum is how it looks sometimes. When you see a young person chewing gum in a way that it can bring about distraction or call unnecessary attention to oneself. So number two is second problem about chewing gum is that some students do not have a good manner in appropriate disposal of gum after chewing. So as a result of this, some parents disallow their children from chewing gum. However, if you are permitted to chew gum, especially by your parents or by your guardian, you need to understand that chewing gum in the public is improper. It is an improper habit for a young person to chew gum in the public. Number two is chewing gum should be done with mouth closed and without any form of noise. So you are not expected to chew gum with your mouth open, attracting unnecessary noise, or trying to call attention to yourself, or blowing the gum balloon in a way that it could cause distraction to yourself or those around you. Another aspect of chewing gum which is considered unethical is in a manner at which young students dispose gum. Have you ever seen a chewed gum on your bench or your school chair, under school table, or under your plates? So some students are in the habit of throwing gums on the floor, in a cup, under the table, behind the hair, which ought not to be so. So it is also not expected of a student to keep gum under the dining table to be chewed after dinner. These are all habits that are against the rules of etiquette. So the last one that we'll be looking at today is inappropriate touch. This is an habit that young students need to learn to avoid. There are a number of girls, young female students, men who have been a victim of inappropriate touch in our society today. And this is often labeled as a bad behavior. It is important for youth and teens to understand what is known or called personal space. Personal space is a clear distance between your body and another person. Keeping personal distance helps you to ensure that you feel safe, you feel protected, you feel or put you in a circumstance where someone cannot abuse you physically. So setting rules as regarding your personal space, as regarding the extent to which someone can touch you, would help to avoid unsuitable touching, which may lead to harassment and abuse. You should learn and understand that the farthest some people can go as regarding touching is shaking of hands. So when you understand this, you do not go beyond handshaking. For example, in the workplace, it is not expected to go beyond handshaking because it will be regarded as an abuse. It could be regarded as an obscene behavior. So number two is restrict people, especially strangers, from touching your hair, your head, clothes, particularly in the hidden place. When you are in an hidden environment or in school, you need to be confident, you need to be bold, and be strong to speak up to a stranger and restrict such person from touching your hair, your head, your clothes, or particularly your private parts. So it is unaccepted. You need to ensure that you do not allow a strange person or a stranger to carry your sister, your brother, or your pet without the consent of you or your parents. By this, an unnecessary touch may be allowed. So the private part touching, you need to understand that is the highest form of abuse. You should ensure that as a young person, you do not allow anyone, either young or old, either an uncle or an aunt, to touch your private parts. This is forbidden. It is the highest form of abuse. As a young person, you need to restrict a teacher, a guardian, a stranger, a uncle, a aunt, a friend from joking or playing with your private parts. For men, this has to do with your penis. For women, this has to do with your chest or your bum. So all these things are things that can bring about problems which you need to learn to avoid. By number two, which we talked about, not touching your hair, your head, your chest, your clothes, unnecessarily. This will help to disallow inappropriate touch as early as possible. Number 5 is report stubborn people to appropriate authorities. For example, when you are in school and you happen to find someone who is always in the habit of touching you unnecessarily, indiscriminately, it is expected that you speak up. That you speak up and inform the person or your school authority that you report such person, that the person has been obstinate in not giving you a personal space. There are stubborn people as such, which you need to report to either the school management, to your teacher, or most importantly, to your parents for quick and swift action. Do not take these things lightly. So the quote for today, do not forget, is first impression will always influence future impression. First impression will always influence future impression. Like the introductory story that we talked about. We talked about the story of a young boy who is known as Bernard. We said that Bernard happened to be a captain of his football club. And he happened to be one of the best footballers on the football team. And on a particular day, the national football team had the intention of coming to the school of Bernard to select a number of footballers to join the national football team. So Bernard had prepared the previous day for the selection process. And as a result of that, he woke up very late. And he couldn't put himself in the best possible manner. He couldn't go clean. He couldn't brush his teeth. He couldn't put himself in the best possible, create the best possible impression. So as a result of that, Bernard ran up to the football pitch. And when the selection interview was taking place, they found the footballers to be good when they were explaining their performance in the past football matches. But when the selection process took place, Bernard was not selected. He was left behind. And when he was left behind, he responded saying, I'm the best footballer on this team. Why am I left behind? And one of the committee members said that anyone who does not respect the football team to put himself to create the best possible influence by dressing well, by smelling well, by being faithful in little things, in small things, that he might be faithful in big things, that such person would not be considered to join their football team. So Bernard was unable to create a good first impression. So as a result of that, a lost future impression. So the discussion for today is that if you were one of the committee members in the introductory story, why would you allow or not allow Bernard to join your football team? Who is speaking? Who would like to speak? Mokhtar, would you like to speak? Okay, thank you very much. One of the reasons why Bernard was not allowed to join the football team is basically because people who find it very hard to become disciplined, to become faithful, to take little things seriously, they'll find it very hard to go far in life. One of the stories that I learned about is about the Asian countries, is that they take the little slightest things seriously. They do not take things slightly. They take time seriously. But in Africa, a lot of little things are not taken with high priority. So as a young student, it is very important that you take every little minute things seriously, because those little things that we ignore in life will always show up in our big things. A good example is those people who do not think it is important to always show up on time. Some people will always find it very hard to meet up with time when they have meetings. They always find it very hard to meet up with time when they have important engagements. And this will always negatively influence their habits when they go for interviews in the future. When they have important engagements, it will always tell negatively on their behavior and attitude. So as a young student, you need to understand that every little thing should matter. You should learn to dress up in the best clean manner. You should learn to ensure that you show up to ensure that you are the best person for a job. You are the best person for a meeting. You are the best person who should be considered for an opportunity. Because when you meet up for an engagement sometimes, and those who are leading the selection process found that the members who have come for an interview, a job interview or a selection for a purpose, found that every student who showed up are very good. They will be looking for little things with which they would evict some people. And that little things could be, how clean are you? That little things could be, when did they show up? That little things could be, who has integrity? That little things could be, who is patient enough? That little things could be endurance. When you go for interview, sometimes you will be delayed. Some people will be delayed. And the delay could be purposeful. It could be to actually know those who will be patient enough to wait long enough before they will be addressed by the management. So as a young student, you need to understand all these, that they are all in the process of building you up. They are all in the process of maturing you. They are all in the process of helping you to become the best version of yourself. So you need to ensure that every little things in your life, they matter. Thank you very much for joining in today's class. So I'd like to ask you this question: which area of your life do you found that you have not been faithful in little things which may affect you in big things in the future? Who would like to speak? You have less than 10 minutes in this discussion section. Which area or aspect of your life which you think it is little that you need to work upon? Any person?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Very well, sir. Emmanuel Oladipo. I think mine is time management.
Okay.
And procrastination. So
Okay.
those are the thank you, sir.
time management and procrastination. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you for, and I hope you have devised a means to work on it, sir. So to work upon procrastination and time management, one of the things you can do is that you learn to plan. Mrs. Tutuola said, not keeping with time. Now, we have two persons who have mentioned that poor time management is one of the little things that you have not been very faithful with. And you need to understand that there are ways that these can be effectively managed. One is learning to plan your time, learn to plan your day before each day. So time management planning is very important. It's a beautiful way of effectively managing your time. So when you plan for every day, the previous day, it helps you to manage your time effectively. It helps you to stay organized. It helps you in little things, such that when you become a manager, when you become someone who is gainfully employed in the company, this would help you to stay organized. You wouldn't work as a disorganized person. When someone is needed to be recommended for a better position, you'll be one of the person who will be considered for promotion, because they have found a sign that this person is more organized. This person is predictable. This person can always keep up with time. This person can always work under pressure. This person can multitask. Those who find it very hard to keep up with time would find it hard to multitask. They'll find it hard to stay organized. They'll find it hard to keep up with time. So you need to understand that there are ways, there are signs of ensuring that you keep up with time. So lastly, I'd like Mukhtar to tell us what area of your life you think you have a number of little things that you think you need to work upon. Mukhtar, are you there? Mukhtar, are you there? So I want to say thank you to everyone for being part of today's class. And then tomorrow will be another section. And don't forget that from next week, we'll be having a number of invited experts, speakers, soft skills instructors who will be joining us on this platform to speak to us on etiquette and other dimensions of soft skills. So I want to say thank you to all who have been a part of today's class. Thank you to Mrs. Tutu, to Mr. Mukhtar, to Mr. Emmanuel Oladeji. Thank you for being part of today's class, and see you tomorrow. Have a blessed weekend.